All of these tools, which one should I use? Editing your videos in DaVinci Resolve using the wrong tools is a lot like trying to put these two pieces of board together using this screw and this pair of pliers. It's just not going to work out right. So let's take a look at these tools. We have this, and if we use it like this, it's just not going to work too well. What if we use the hammer? It's going to get the job done a little faster, but it's not going to work. What if we use the screwdriver, which is designed for it? It's going to work a little bit, but it's going to take some time. Why not use the screw gun? It's going to do this so much easier and faster. Much better. So now that we know we want to use the right tools, how about we take a look on the edit page and see what tools did DaVinci Resolve provide us with. Okay, we're going to get started here on the edit page, but before we start, I do want to mention that we do have different reasons of why we will use all these different tools and whether or not we should use them. First thing we're going to do is we're going to come up here to Workspace, and I'm going to go to Reset User Interface Layout. So as you can see, I'm now reset and I have these two windows. This is where we should all be, and I highly suggest that you use any footage that you have and follow along with this. This way you have the experience of using the different tools and you'll know how to use them when it comes time. So the first thing that we should do is be organized. This will definitely speed up our workflow. So what we have here is we have what we call the bins. As you see, we have the master bin here, and down here we have what we call smart bins. Drag that up a little bit. I am not going to be using this due to the fact that this is just going to be for a YouTube video. However, if you're using a larger production or something, you need to keep things organized, this is where you would do it. You can put your keywords in your metadata, which you can find up here. When you have media, you can select your media and your metadata will be there. The people, you can use the AI to locate different people through faces, or you can put their names in, and of course the scene. However, we're not going to get into that. I do not need to use smart bins, so I'm going to bring that one down. But up here we do have the master, and there's one more called power bins. We haven't opened that yet, so I'm going to show you where to find that. Up here under these three dots, we can click on that and it's going to show this. We come down to show power bins, which is right here. See, we have the show smart bins and show power bins. I'm going to click that. Now I'm going to drag that up. I do not need my smart bins, so for me, I'm going to hide that just so we don't have to deal with it. Before we talk about power bins, let's get organized in our master. What I'm going to do is click here in my Finder, and I'm going to come to the location that I have the files. I've already organized them under here for my editing tools video. I have my audio in a folder. I have my camera A in this folder and camera B in that folder. So I'm just going to grab editing tools, drag it over to the master and drop it. And just like that, we now have all of these bins with all of that in there. Audio's in a bin, camera A's in a bin, camera B is in a bin. Instead of grabbing your media, say like this, coming in here, grabbing a piece, dropping it there, and then it coming and popping up into there. That's how we do that. I do not recommend adding anything to your timeline like this, so I'm just going to delete that clip because that's not how we're going to work with any of this. The way we are going to be adding this will depend on what your workflow is. So let's start here with camera A. I'm going to open this folder, and you see I have them. And when I scrub over them, they pop up here in this left viewer. What we can do is say, I'm going to select this middle clip, I'm going to double click it. And now you see it stays in the viewer. I have loaded it in here. So now this is actually quite a long video, and I cannot see exactly what's going on here. So what I want to do is use the audio waveform. What we can do is come up to these three dots here on the top right, click that, and we'll come down. You can do show zoomed audio waveform or show full clip audio waveform. First, I'll show you the zoomed audio waveform. As you can see, this is the zoomed version. So as I scrub through, you can see those little bits. Not really very helpful in this situation. However, if we come here to show full clip audio waveform, now we can see all of the audio throughout the entire clip. along this line. This is really going to be very helpful, knowing where you were talking or the sound was going from. So we're going to come to about here and say I want to select from there to this point and add it to my timeline. So instead of grabbing the media like this, bringing it down, and then finding that spot like this, grabbing it, cutting it, and then say having to come here and cut that. Instead of having to do it that way and still have all this other stuff, what we're going to do is we're going to come here to this, we're going to hit the I key for in. We can come over here, and we're going to hit the O key for out. So what we've done was set our in and out points on this. To transfer this to the timeline, there's actually several ways to do it. So what we're going to do to put it down here is we're going to click on this, we're going to drag it over this viewer, and as you see on the right side, all of that just popped up. We see insert, overwrite, replace, fit to fill, place on top, append to end, and ripple overwrite. For this, we're just going to do overwrite. Now as you can see, we have video 1 and A1 where this is at, and it only brought in that selected portion of the clip. So if I want to come here to eliminate any of that space, I just bring the playhead to that, select I. If I come over here and hit O, where this playhead is, do the same thing, that's what's going to happen. But instead of doing that, I want to teach the same thing but using here. As you can see right here, if you hover over this, you have overwrite clip, which you can click that or press F10. And as you can see, it just put it right there at the end. Now, say you have a really long timeline or something, and you have your playhead is here. You don't want to be dragging it all the way over, and you know that you have another section that you want to put, say, at the end. Say we'll do here, I, and we'll select this portion, and we'll press O. That gives me an in and out. If you want to put it to the end, you're just going to grab this, drag it over, and go to append to end, and it will automatically drop it all into the very end of that. So I just want to take this moment to introduce myself. If we haven't met already, my name is Chad. I make DaVinci Resolve tutorials and create systems and processes to help you streamline your workflow so you can focus more on your business growth. So if I've helped you upgrade the tools that you're using, I would really appreciate if you could give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Another thing that I just want to go over really quickly for you is when you start dragging it like that, you have that. If you don't want to hear that, you just press Shift S, and now we're not going to hear it. Watch when I drag over. You no longer hear all that audio. So for right now, we don't need to hear the audio, and I'm just going to keep it off on that. Alright, so now let's grab camera B. This, I'm going to double click it, and now it's loaded in there. This, I just want to show you different ways of adding something else into the timeline. So I'm going to move my playhead to the middle of this clip. And what I'm going to do is just select a random point for in and out. So we're going to go for here, in, and I'm going to come here for out. Now, for example, I want to insert this clip right into the middle of this and split it. So I can do it in a couple different ways. I can grab it, drag it, and just go right up here to the top for insert. Or I can just select this button, insert, or press F9. As you can see, it just splits the clip and puts it right on in there. Maybe you didn't want to do that. Maybe what you want to do is you want to put that on the next video layer above. However, currently we do not have one. So let's try, we're going to add a video layer. We're going to right click here, and we're going to add track. Now I have another video layer. However, if I go and just take this and put it there, it's not going to work. What I can do is select here. You see where V2, but when I click it, it's going to change, and watch. Now you see I have a red box and it says V1. However, that is the location that this will go. So now let's click that same button and see what happens. If you hit the insert, it still splits it, but it puts it on a different track. So keep that in mind. Now let's press Command Z, bring it back. In order to place it on top, that's what we should do with here is overwrite clip. Now it's not going to overwrite the clip itself, but it is going to overwrite on this track. So we click this, and there it is. Now it has all of that within there. For this next part, I just realized that this clip is not the portion that I wanted. So instead of going and deleting this and bringing that stuff all back, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to make a new in-out point. So I want to replace it with this section. I'm going to hit in here and hit out here. And what I'm going to do, I can either grab it, drag it, and put replace, or we can come here for replace as well as press F11. So let's see what happens. As you can see, that clip for that exact length of time was replaced. Now, I'm wondering, did you notice any issues with the audio when that happened? As you can see, it has replaced the audio when doing that, because we only have one audio track. So this is something that you need to keep in mind too. So let's see how we can do that without replacing audio. Okay, so now we're back to where we were. And we want to bring this here and put it on this track without affecting the audio. So what we can do is we can take our cursor over top of this one, and you see where this pops up. We have video and we have the audio waveform. So if I click this video and I drag this over here and I put overwrite, now it drops it on there and it has not done anything with audio. But what if you want the audio and not the video? Well, we do the same thing except for we use the audio. So let's delete this. I'm going to add an audio track. I'm going to add a stereo track, just for the example for this. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the middle here. Now I want to overwrite using the audio, but keep in mind A1 is selected. So let's see what happens there. We're going to drag this over and hit overwrite. Now you see it overwrote inside of the track that was selected. So let's press Command C. We're going to select A2. Now we're going to do the same thing with that audio. And now it has placed the audio in the location that we want. So that's how you do video specifically, or just audio. Okay, so as you saw, there was a bunch of others. So let's just really quickly go over what they are. So let's grab this and pull this over. Now we see insert. We did insert. We've done overwrite. We've done replace. There's fit to fill, place on top. We've done append to end. And there's a ripple overwrite. Okay, so let's try what the place on top is. Say if you do have V1 selected, let's remove this track. And let's see what happens. So we have V1, we have this track here, okay, and that's selected. Now let's grab this, we're gonna bring it over here, and we're gonna place on top. And what happens, it created that other video layer and placed it on top of that. So let's go, say here, and try one more time. As you can see, it's always going to add it on top, and it also does the same thing for the audio. That way it is not damaging what you have there. Okay, so now you saw that was a really large clip, but we have what we call fit to fill. Let me drag my playhead. I'm going to put it over this clip. We know that this is a pretty long clip, so let's just drag this over to fit to fill and see what happens. As you can see, it only filled this clip to the length that that was, but it did overwrite it. Another one we have is what we call ripple delete. So let me bring this here. I'm going to press in here. I'm just going to get really short and press out here. So when I grab this clip and I drag it, say, I want to go over this clip. I'm going to grab this clip, drag it over here, and do ripple overwrite. And let's see what happens. As you can see, it only took that small section and ripple overwrited that specific clip and totally deleted it all out. Can't remember if we did replace. Let's try that. Okay, so I'm on this clip. I'm going to grab this, bring it over to replace, and it just replaces the clip just like that. So if you needed to replace it, very simple. Okay, so I want to talk to you about why I would not use this, even though this is a fantastic way. For me personally, I do use this method a lot. However, when editing my YouTube videos, I do not use this method that often due to the fact that I use multiple layers. As I'm editing multiple layers at one time, it makes it a little bit difficult to utilize this. Also, if you're interested in learning how I shoot and edit an entire YouTube video, let me know in the comments below and I'll see about making that video. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete all this and we're going to start over. So I'm going to show you some of the other ways that you can do this. One of the ways that you can do this is you can find a clip, we're going to right click this, and we're going to come down to audio transcription. And then we're going to click here on transcribe. So what's going to happen here is DaVinci Resolve is going to use its AI. It's going to transcribe my entire video and mark out everything that I had to say in that video. And as you can see, it's going pretty quickly here, 24 times the speed. Everything that you just saw was at real speed. So now you can see where all this is. I can see where I made my mistakes and where I might want to edit with this. We can see where I said editing videos in DaVinci Resolve right here, here, and here. So it was 3. Typically, it would be the last one that I would use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to be able to utilize those things we just saw over here. We also have them right here. So we have the place on top, we have insert, and we have append at end. So let's just hit place on top. As you can see, it dropped it all the way over wherever the playhead was. So let's make sure that we bring that back and we pay attention to where our playhead is when we're doing that. I probably need this section here. So if we select that, and then I'm just going to hit insert. Doesn't matter. Anyway, now let's quickly take a look at the very end of this clip to see how it matches. Using this screw and this. So let's take a look at these tools. It didn't flow through exactly how I hoped, and it actually missed part of this. So with DaVinci Resolve doing this, it's not really perfect. I always find issues like that, things are just not matching up. And I really do not use this way to edit. I would prefer to look at the waveform here, find the locations and do it that way. So they are some of the amazing tools that DaVinci Resolve has provided us on the edit page. They have also created some really amazing transitions. If you want to take a look at this video over here, it will show you how to make the smoothest transitions you can ever have in DaVinci Resolve.